order the regular common council meeting Monday, June 7th, 7 PM. Roll call.
Braun,
Yes.
Langen,
Yes.
Candy Davis,
Yes.
Shaw,
Yes.
Paul Davis,
Yes.
Burdick.
Yes. We're giving the agendas. The next item is Pledge of Allegiance, so they're going to lead the Pledge of Allegiance for us.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Confirmation of appropriate meeting notice.
Meeting was noticed on Friday, June 4th. Agenda's posted at the post office, library, city hall, and the website.
Council acceptance of agenda.
Make a motion to accept.
I'll second.
Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Personal appearances for non-agenda items. If there's anyone in the audience that wishes to speak on something that's not on the agenda, please state your name and address.
Good evening, my name is Dan Deegan, lifelong resident here in Edgerton, would be 1111 Blaine Street. We would like to maybe get our skate park back, looking into maybe something like that. My son has gotten into the sport, and it's a great time, I'm doing it with him. I enjoy it that much. But we've been traveling to Janesville, Beloit, Fort Atkinson, Stoughton. He brought up to me, he had heard that we had a skate park at one time in town, and I couldn't tell him much about it. So I guess that's why we're here right now, is to maybe find out if we can get something going with that.
Well, we can't give you an answer here now. We can't actually discuss it because it's not on the agenda.
I
But
just wasn't sure, Chris, on what the next step I would have to, what I would do.
that would go to Public Works or Parks. Parks.
First, okay.
Okay.
We can help you with getting that on an agenda.
Okay, thank you very much, I appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Okay, we'll move on to the minutes from May 17th.
Make a motion to approve the minutes from May 17th, 2021 council meeting.
Second.
Any corrections or additions? Hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. And the next one is the approval of minutes from May 17th joint council and RDA meeting.
I'll move to approve the minutes from the joint council and RDA meeting on May 17th.
Second. Any corrections or additions on that one? Hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Committee reports and Finance Committee.
Yep, finance met this evening. Motion to approve bills and payroll in the amount of $217,492.11.
Second.
Any questions on the bills? Hearing none, roll call.
Candy Davis,
Yes.
Braun,
Yes.
Langen,
Yes.
Shaw,
Yes.
Paul Davis,
Yes.
Burdick.
Yes. Motion passes.
Motion to approve Class B beer license renewal for Mario's Italian Restaurant LLC, agent Carla Zimmerman.
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
Candy Davis,
Yes.
Shaw,
Yes.
Paul Davis,
Yes.
Burdick,
Yes.
Braun,
Yes.
Langen,
Yes.
Motion passes.
Motion to approve Class B combination liquor and beer license renewal for Town Country Club, Inc., agent Michael Hesselman, Two Brothers Bar and Grill, agent Alir Benushi, Cafe on Main, agent Alir Benushi, El Patron Mexican Grill, agent Alejandro Ramirez, Last Night Bar and Grill, agent Terry Nodstad, TK's Decoy Bar and Grill, agent Tom Kulo, Young Fire Pit Stop, agent Patricia Young, The Baron LLC, agent Alir Benushi, and Lounge 1848, agent Alir Benushi.
I'll second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
Candy Davis,
Yes.
Braun,
Yes.
Langen,
Yes.
Shaw,
Yes.
Paul Davis,
Yes.
Burdick,
Yes. Motion passes.
Motion to approve a Class B combination liquor and beer license renewal for Edge Events LLC, agent Sarah Braun.
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
Candy Davis,
Yes.
Shaw,
Yes.
Paul Davis,
Yes.
Burdick,
Yes.
Braun,
Abstain?
Langen,
Yes.
Motion passes. One quick note. I don't know if you guys noticed, but Sarah Braun is one of the license applications, so she abstained on this vote because it is a direct conflict for her to be voting on it, so she runs the depot down there, so that's why she's abstaining, which means she's not voting. Okay, thanks.
Good. Motion to approve Class A beer license renewal for Quick Trip, number 675, agent Sarah Pierce. Stop and Go, number 214, agent Alicia Imhoff.
Second?
Any discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
Candy Davis,
Yes.
Braun,
Yes.
Langen,
Yes.
Shaw,
Yes.
Paul Davis,
Yes.
Burdick,
Yes. Motion passes.
Motion to approve a Class A combination liquor and beer license renewals for Cowley's Family Foods, Inc., Piggly Wiggly, agent Jason Cowley, 424 Game Day Beverage, Inc., agent Randip Sen, Casey's General Store, number 3731, agent Anthony Hawks, and Burns Fuel Full Service LLC, agent Casey Burns.
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
Candy Davis,
Yes.
Shaw,
Yes.
Paul Davis,
Yes.
Burdick,
Yes.
Braun,
Yes.
Langen,
Yes.
Motion passes.
Motion to approve cigarette and tobacco license for Family Dollar Stores of Wisconsin, 424 Game Day Beverage, Inc., Cowley's Family Foods, Inc., Piggly Wiggly, Two Brothers Bar and Grill, Quick Trip number 675, Stop and Go number 214, Burns Full Service LLC, and Casey's General Store.
Second?
Any discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
Candy Davis,
Yes.
Braun,
Yes.
Langen,
Yes.
Shaw,
Yes.
Paul Davis,
Yes.
Burdick,
Yes. Motion passes.
Motion to approve dance hall permits to the Baron LLC, Two Brothers Bar and Grill, Lounge 1848, TK's Decoy Bar and Grill, Edgerton Town Country Club, Inc., and Last Night Bar and Grill.
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
Candy Davis,
Yes.
Shaw,
Yes.
Paul Davis,
Yes.
Burdick,
Yes.
Braun,
Yes.
Langen,
Yes.
Motion passes.
Motion to approve sandwich board permits to the Baron LLC, Two Brothers Bar and Grill, Lounge 1848, Ripples Resale, and Campbell Boys 53534.
Second?
Any discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
Candy Davis,
Yes.
Braun,
Yes.
Langen,
Yes.
Shaw,
Yes.
Paul Davis,
Yes.
Burdick,
Yes. Motion passes.
And motion to approve private property on public sidewalk permit to Burns Full Service LLC, Ripples Resale, and Campbell Boys 53534.
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
Candy Davis,
Yes.
Shaw,
Yes.
Paul Davis,
Yes.
Burdick,
Yes.
Braun,
Yes.
Langen,
Yes.
Motion passes.
Motion to approve the name for our housing program as such, Edgerton Home Revival.
Second?
Any discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
Candy Davis,
Yes.
Braun,
Yes.
Langen,
Yes.
Shaw,
Yes.
Paul Davis,
Yes.
Burdick,
Yes. Motion passes.
Okay, motion to approve awarding the bid for the lead lateral replacement on private side of lateral to the lowest bidder, which is KS Energy LLC, in the amount of $128,778, paid for by a DNR grant.
Second.
Any discussion?
I just want to add something.
Go ahead, no, you start.
I just want to commend Edgerton for taking something like this on, getting the funding from the DNR. The organization I work for is a national conservation organization, and we have policy people in DC who are trying to get rural communities around the country just to come to the table and acknowledge that they have lead pipes and that they should do something. And they're helping give free technical assistance just to get them thinking about doing something like this. So, you know, we are light years ahead of what some small communities around the country are doing with this right now.
Jim?
I just want to know, why the big difference in the unit? I know this is a unit cost project, but the engineer said they're qualified and everything, right?
Yes.
But why is there a big difference
I don't
in
know.
bids?
I know the engineer investigated with the low bidder to ensure their math was correct and to ensure that they were qualified to do the work, and it feels that they are. But I have no explanation as to why there was almost double or more than double.
Yeah, that he didn't have nothing, okay.
Yeah.
But obviously they're qualified from everything he looked at, so
Right.
it's gonna be good, okay. Thanks.
Casey?
Can you continue to sign up, or does this close the door on additional laterals?
Great question. We are at, right now, we have found 81 lead laterals. So our goal is to get to 100. So not everyone is eligible. They have to have, the public side has to be done. So that's certainly a message we're trying to get out to the public. But Howard and his staff have been working, and some other volunteers have been working diligently to try to get us to 100. We have found that we have we've investigated 150 and found 80. So that's good news in that there are fewer out there than we thought there were, but it hasn't been easy to get free laterals to people, easy as we thought it would be. So we still have about 20 more we need to verify and bring into the program.
Okay.
So if any of you are involved in possibly having your lateral looked at, and your parents have gotten a letter, and they haven't reacted to it yet, this is a good time to do it because it won't cost the homeowner to have this done, and it'll get rid of the potential hazard and possibly make your house more sellable in the future. So, we have any more discussion here yet, or? Everybody done? Roll call.
Candy Davis,
Yes.
Shaw,
Yes.
Paul Davis,
Yes.
Burdick,
Yes.
Braun,
Yes.
Langen,
Yes.
Motion passes.
Okay, motion to approve the wage cap on lifeguard wages, increasing from $12 to $13 due to increase in their wage scale.
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
Candy Davis,
Yes.
Braun,
Yes.
Langen,
Yes.
Shaw,
Yes.
Paul Davis,
Yes.
Burdick,
Yes.
Motion passes.
Okay, so next one I may need a little help with, but we're gonna go for it. Motion to approve a facade grant for 106 West Fulton Street in the amount of $4,272, contingent on the grant not being released until advertising/display/promoting of local businesses is completed, and that the owner work with city administrator to get that done. Sarah, Tim, Cindy, did I miss anything in the
do you want
statement?
to include the within 30 days?
Well, we were talking about that, we said that the grant would not be released until this was done?
It was mentioned, or.
Or within 30 days? Can we do
It's up
that?
to you. I mean, if you don't want
And
to.
or within 30 days. That way, either one of those two things need to be met before the funds for the facade grant are released.
Yes.
And I'll second that.
So I guess we missed some discussion at finance on this. Might have been an interesting one to be out here and listen to. So, any discussion
No,
here?
they confused everybody over there. If you'd like a little background, we can talk some more about it.
Yeah, any discussion?
We based this motion off of information that we received from members of the RDA from a previous grant that was released for work done to improve the inside of the building, specifically replacing a boiler. So we just wanted to make sure that those requirements were met this time around before any of the actual grant funding was released.
The other thing I'll say is that the bid was, there were a couple different bids. He wants to go with the higher one. We agreed to release the grant based on the lowest responsible. So the numbers, he's gonna go with a higher one, but we're not going to pay a higher grant upon it.
Anyone else?
I'll just also add, he seemed very willing to work with the city to figure out what he could put in the windows, and I guess that was his reasoning for delay, because he wasn't really sure how to proceed.
They could use a display as an example, a not-for-profit. A scouting organization could have a display of the activities that you have. That would be an example of someone who could put something in a store.
Right. Something about the Boy Scouts and the troop numbers and what it is that the Boy Scouts do. Exactly.
And he doesn't get the grant money until he does do something.
He does not get the grant money until he meets the requirements necessary. And the reason for this, and this is the other thing, is because it's not like he's a business where he's selling, let's say it's a toy store and he's selling toys, right? He doesn't have toys in his windows where somebody could go in and purchase those toys. He's not selling items out of that store. It's more of services through the internet and through other areas. So if you walk past the store and you look at his window, you can't really tell what business it is. So this is a way of kind of also saying we've got some of this stuff going on, but we're also supporting other businesses. That's really the way to explain that, what makes that a little different.
I have a question, Alder Davis. You added the and/or 30 days. The way that's phrased to me suggests that if he simply waits 30 days, he gets the release of the grant monies, even if he doesn't do these other things that the RDA suggested. Is that the intent? Because that's how it reads right now.
The intent is he needs to complete the stipulation of the displays before money is paid out.
And Cindy, what was your thoughts on this for bringing that? Because that, to me, again, says, it's and/or.
Yeah.
You either meet the 30 days, the and would be fine, so you meet this and you still wait 30 days.
Okay.
But the or is the troubling word.
Yeah, and I think the or should be left out. I had that, he needs to develop a window signage to promote Edgerton within 30 days, and money won't be paid out until the window display is complete.
Okay, and that's fine, as long as you drop the or,
Yes.
you're fine, but if you leave it in there, the
yeah,
trigger
it's-
is.
There's only two options, money or no money. There's no two options within the money.
Right.
That's what the or should probably.
Come out.
Right.
Yeah.
That implies that inside getting the grant, he gets two options, but he
Okay.
doesn't.
Okay. My friendly amendment is to drop the or.
Is that okay with the second?
Yes, it is. I remember that I was the second.
that the ore is out of there, any further discussion on Casey?
Did he indicate what the business name is that resides there, or is this storage?
He really didn't say the business name that I caught, no.
He didn't say a name. He gave an example of several different kinds of services that are offered through that he uses part of the building for.
So if he puts a sign up that says one of the names of these businesses.
I don't think
needs
he,
this.
I don't think he plans to necessarily promote his particular business because he said that most of his work is in Chicago. He's also supposed to reach out to the city, so.
Okay. Did anyone see if the snowmobile is still in the doorway?
It's a
It's a
sidecar.
sidecar.
He
That was
clarified for us that it's a sidecar.
It's still there?
Yes.
Doesn't fit through the door.
You say we can ask her this.
Is the payment after completion of the work?
Yes,
Not the signage, but the tuck pointing?
Correct.
Okay,
He doesn't get the payment just for putting the displays in.
correct, okay,
The work also has to be completed.
okay.
That's part of the process of the facade grant program.
Well, I have concerns about what's going on inside that building, but the tuck pointing is more important, and hopefully the building is there longer than said business, so that's the priority, so. I've had leery feelings about this one, but I'll support it.
Any further discussion? Could we have the clerk read the motion back one more time here?
So,
Please.
here's how I have the motion, is to approve the facade grant for 106 West Fulton in the amount of $4,272, conditional upon owner work with the city and chamber to develop window signage to promote Edgerton within 30 days, and money not to be paid out until window display complies with the condition.
Boy, I couldn't have said it any better myself. Good job.
Okay, now that was read, is there anybody that has any discussion against it? Hearing none, roll call.
Candy Davis?
Yes.
Shaw?
Yes.
Paul Davis?
Yes.
Burdick?
Yes.
Braun?
yes.
Langen?
Yes.
Motion passes.
And that is it for finance.
Thank you. How about personnel?
Yes, personnel met on May 24th.
Looks like some of our guests.
Oh,
Thank
Thank-
Bye, guys,
thank you.
thank you.
Coming down. Have a good night. Get the ice cream shop.
okay, personnel met on May 24th. And I'll make a motion to, for a reestablishment of a part-time patrol officer position.
I'll second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
Candy Davis?
Yes.
Braun?
Yes,
Langen?
Yes.
Shaw?
Yes.
Paul Davis?
Yes.
Burdick?
Yes.
Motion passes.
And that's it for personnel.
Thank you. Fire district.
I'm passing. We got chief here. You guys will be glad I'm passing, I'm sure.
So if the belief is on the weekends, we just turn the sirens on at 5 a.m. in the morning and turn them back off at 11 o'clock at night and just let them blow in between continuously, you're close. Last weekend, on Saturday alone, we had 10 calls. The weekend before that, we had 14 calls for the entire weekend, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So busy is kind of an understatement. What we are noticing is that post-COVID, people are coming out and they're doing lots of things. So this is not unusual, it's not unexpected. On a very positive note, 2 weekends ago, or the weekend before, There was one point when all 3 of our ambulances were in operation and responding to different incidents in different locations. So if you kind of think about the journey we've been on over the last few years, it's a pretty amazing accomplishment. This last weekend, simultaneously, we had a mutual aid request from Milton. We had a mutual aid request from Fort Atkinson. We had a crash on the interstate, and there was one other call. Literally all going on sort of simultaneously. And we literally were able to meet the needs, maybe 3 on an engine instead of 4. But so we're very, very proud of what we've been able to accomplish. But we are stretching the team very, very thin. So just a little FYI in terms of why you're hearing sirens continuously on weekends. Overall, budget, we do have one of our career employees that is currently on medical leave because of an off-the-job injury. So that's, I mean, we have a very small staff. So that's stressing people quite a bit, not only just their own personal time, but as Candy will attest, our overtime budget looks like a disaster. But we're gonna deal with it. The only other thing that I would just sort of comment on, as I have with all of our municipalities, and I know Edgerton, City of Edgerton is in a unique situation, because I think you, more than the townships, are in a position to utilize the ARPA recovery funding, probably, again, talking about lead pipes and all sorts of things that sort of can apply for. So maybe this is a little different as I talk with some of the townships that don't have the infrastructure, but there are several elements of ARPA that the fire department, and especially the ambulance, as it relates to dealing with COVID, are eligible for. And there are a couple of very large ones that could help take some stress off the budget for next year in terms of the capital budget. So that is a very sheepishly disguised attempt to say, if in your planning for your ARPA funding, there is any potential of consideration to assist in the things that we're eligible for, all of our funding has to come through you and the townships. So I would be, as Ramona's well aware, more than willing to come talk and see, even if it's $2, because that's $2 more than we would have had otherwise. So, questions, anything anybody has? Maybe the only other comment I should just make, I do want to keep everybody informed of the discussions with Town of Milton, Fulton, Lima, Johnstown, Koshkonong, I don't forget anybody. The district board basically has directed them, we're going to develop, I refer to it as a CUP almost, a list of terms and conditions under which we would entertain someone petitioning to join the district. You know, these are all the things and that they would have to do or meet or agree to or all that kind of stuff. And most of them are based on the original agreement from 1992, which the City of Edgerton was very deeply engaged in, that created the district. And the message we've sent to the other municipalities, I mean, we want to help them, right? I mean, we're not trying to be obstructionistic in any way, but if somebody new is going to come into the district, they need to come in and step up to the same requirements that the City of Edgerton, towns of Fulton, Lima, Fulton, Albany.
There's so many of them, Albany, yeah.
So I just want to share that with you, that we're actually being very prescriptive about this, and we've made that very clear. The other thing that we've made very clear to them is that 100% of the costs associated with us entertaining any of this, looking at any of this, is going to be borne by the petitioning entities. That any costs associated with it, other than Jason and my staff time, basically, is on their shoulders, not on our taxpayers' shoulders, just to be fair to our current taxpayers.
So this is, I don't know if everybody's aware, or if you've read things in that paper or whatever, this is with respect to the city and the town of Milton and some of their thoughts and investigating which routes they want to go. with their fire district, fire and EMS district, or situations. They're still not sure. They've approached Edgerton Fire District. No decisions have been made, and no decisions will be made until we have all the information. And as Chief said, that there would, if there were a decision made that there would be some combination with the other towns, it would be strictly separated from a financial perspective, so that there would be no adverse or additional taxpayer burden, I guess is a good way to put it. So still,
A work in progress.
chief and deputy chief are having discussions, and it is work in progress. Yeah.
We looked at their financial situation very closely. And without spending a lot of time tonight, their makeup, their balance between their levy allocation and their fee-for-service allocation is very much out of sync with where we have been able to get to. It's, again, just a polite way of saying that. And so we've made it very clear to them that if anybody was to come in, we are going to totally firewall the calculations of impact on levy until we can get their situation cleaned up. But that there will be nothing that's going across or through that firewall that would negatively impact our current jurisdictions. The magnitude of that is actually pretty large. It is not a single-digit number. It's very out of whack, so. All right.
I was just gonna say that board meeting, you covered that really well. It was a very lively board meeting, as you might suspect with the topic. I thought it was, but you covered everything. It was very informative. So what came out of that board meeting, that was nice.
Thank you.
And
I appreciate
you
that.
did a good job of explaining everything.
I mean, I think the most important thing that I want to continue to reinforce with our current municipalities, we're going to do everything that needs to be done to protect, from a financial perspective, impact on the current levy, current municipalities. This is not going to, we need to help them out. Quite honestly, they need help. That is absolutely known. But it's not going to be financial help.
Yeah, and I think not only that, we've got the financial piece of it that we have to be very careful and we keep separate, but also if there was any additional areas that we would take on, we have to be careful that it would not slow down our response time, right? Because you're talking, twice as many miles possibly, and so all of that has bigger ramifications that you couldn't say for our response time. And as you talked about the number of calls we've had throughout the week, but particularly on the weekends, how do you add an additional how many hundreds of miles of, coverage time? So it's all very big decisions and discussions. And Jim, like you said, it's kind of an interesting time to be hearing about this kind of stuff and just learning a bit, so.
And that was the concern, was that we have a darn good district now, and we didn't want anything coming that was gonna be detrimental to what we have. And then that's what all the questions and what Chief is still going out and drawing more into staffing. There's a lot more. He's got a lot going, so.
It would be unfair if I didn't say, there are some very significant operational and financial advantages to 10 municipalities working together instead of just 5. That ought to be, self-apparent. But we've got to manage getting there in a way that we draw the advantages and not create any disadvantages anywhere. So a little tricky, but we'll get there. Yes,
I just have a question.
Yeah.
If you look at a map of the town of Milton, it's got a weird map because Lake Koshkonong and Rock River kind of cut it in two.
Yep.
Can a township go with different providers, and has the township talked about, and I think you all know where I'm going, like there's the small piece of the town of Milton that would kind of make sense. A truck
It used to
would
be
get there.
It used to be, yeah, before the district was formed, city covered the Mallwood area.
Have they discussed that this time around, splitting off that small piece?
We today have, as an example, the town of Porter is 50% in the Evansville Fire District, 50% in the Edgerton Fire District. So it exists today.
Well, also, Sumner
Sumner's another.
has, what, Fort Atkinson
And
and
us.
here, yeah.
So they can, and,
Yeah.
and they, do they talk about this split for just that small area?
We've developed a series of very detailed, response time maps in terms of, and I call them collision points. We've shown them exactly where a fire truck leaving an Edgerton station, a Milton station, a Fort Atkinson station, a Whitewater station, a Darien station, and a Janesville station would hit head on. And so therefore you draw the lines based on those collision points and you try to look at what makes sense. And if nothing else, what we are providing them is a tremendous amount of fact-based information that, okay, here it is. It's a public policy decision on their part, right? We'll provide them the facts. They can make the public policy decision. Once they tell us, as an example, town of Lima, about 80% of the town of Lima would make sense to be served from the new combined district if that were to be formed, about 15% of it from Whitewater. That's totally their decision at that point. But once they tell us what those numbers are, then we can put financial numbers around it. But right now, are you 50-50? Are you 80-20? Right? Until they make up those their decisions, we can't really make any models out of it yet.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. Very interesting.
The only other thing I was gonna say is, between you and DC Russ, Jason Russ, you guys have been working really hard and very diligently on this, and thank you for, a lot of it's fact finding and digging through things, so good job, thank you.
Thank you. Redevelopment Authority had no quorum earlier today, and you covered that on the Finance and Council already. Plan Commission, the reason we had to get together today.
Yeah, planning commission met today, 5:45 PM. You'd like to make a motion for extraterritorial two-lot land division on Edgewood Shores Road and Riverview Drive for Wildman in section 11 of the town of Fulton.
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
Burdick,
Yes.
Paul Davis,
Yes.
Braun,
Yes.
Langen,
Yes.
Candy Davis,
Yes.
Shaw,
Yes.
Motion passes.
The only other thing, we tentatively set June 30th as the next planning, I think it was.
Correct.
And we're looking at June 30th for the next meeting now, and agenda to be set. Is it?
Thank you. And our next item here is to consider approving the third reading and adopting City of Edgerton Ordinance, Charter Ordinance 21-06 to amend section 2.02, elected officials to change the term of office for mayor.
Also move.
Second.
Any discussion?
I just want to thank you for your past support of this. I think this will be a positive change for future mayors and a more equitable situation for council members as well.
And it was a little discussion point with the Boy Scouts earlier while finance was going on too, so they were kind of interested in the ordinances, so I said, well, we got one on here tonight, so. Okay, anyone else? Roll call.
Langen,
Yes.
Burdick,
Yes.
Braun,
Yes.
Candy Davis,
Yes.
Shaw,
Yes.
Paul Davis,
Yes.
Motion passes. And the next item is to consider introducing and approving the first reading of City of Edgerton Ordinance 21-07 to amend section 9.03 parking restrictions to reference section 22.4047E and 22.215 off-street parking prohibitions and penalties.
I'll make that a motion.
I'll second.
Any discussion?
Yeah, I have a couple of questions. So this, so how did this come up? I guess is the best way to ask the question, right? Why is this coming forward? Is this something new?
This doesn't change any policy, so when looking for parking restrictions of where you can't park, like in front yard, it would be logical to look in a parking chapter. It's not found in the parking chapter, it's found in the zoning ordinance.
Right, so we're
So-
adding additional language then.
So in the parking chapter, we're saying, here are the regulations for where you can park in yards, and it refers them then to chapter 22, where all the restrictions exist. So it's just for clarification, so the chief's officers, when they're looking through chapter 9, which is the chapter they use all the time, they know, oh, there is actually a prohibition against parking in your lawn.
Okay, so it just kind of cleans it up, makes it easier
Yes.
to enforce, right?
Exactly.
Because clearly, there's some.
There's a few.
Okay, so that, I get it. That's what, I didn't know if this was something new or whatever. Okay, and I would assume then they will be enforced. The assumption is, okay. Thank you.
We work with the citizens.
I know you do, and you do a great job. Just
Thank you. Okay.
I have a question. Is the way it's worded, I'm all for if it's yards, but the way it's worded, if you decide to park on the grass at Racetrack Park, could you get a ticket?
I don't have chapter 22 in front of me, but I don't believe, I think it's in between a house and a public right-of-way in a lawn.
I mean, that's how it looked, but I just sometimes.
But on the second reading, we'll make sure we have that answer for you.
Okay.
Anyone else?
You have to have chapter 22 to look at, we'll make sure that it's clear and have it for you.
Okay, thank you.
Anyone else? Roll call.
Burdick,
Yes.
Candy Davis,
yes.
Shaw,
Yes.
Paul Davis,
Yes.
Braun,
Yes.
Langen,
Yes.
Motion passes. Next one is to consider City of Edgerton proclamation supporting the annual Ride to Work Day.
Motion to approve?
Second?
Didn't want to read it?
Yes. Okay. That's why nobody else came forward, right? Okay. Not so
Page
bad.
15.
Yep, not so bad.
That's a short one.
Whereas scooters and motorcycles have a less harmful impact on our infrastructure and environment, and whereas scooters and motorcycles require only a fraction of space taken by other vehicles to park, thereby addressing an ongoing parking shortage, and whereas the direct and indirect costs of fossil fuels are all continually increasing, and whereas our road and infrastructure repairs fail to keep up with wear and degradation, and whereas for these reasons, scooters and motorcycles offer a form of daily transportation to be encouraged, and whereas June 21st, 2021 has been designated as Right to Work Day to highlight the positive daily use of scooters and motorcycles. Now therefore be it resolved that the Common Council of the City of does, what city does?
Edgerton
Oh,
does.
correct. City does hereby proclaim June 21st, 2021 to be Ride to Work Day and to encourage scooter and motorcycle riders to ride to work on that day. You're welcome.
Any discussion?
Ride my scooter that day. It's gonna happen.
No discussion? Roll call.
Candy Davis,
Yes.
Braun,
Yes.
Langen,
Yes.
Shaw,
Yes.
Paul Davis,
Yes.
Burdick,
Yes.
Motion passes. Mayor, alderperson, and staff reports. Well, congratulations to all the graduates of all the institutions here, the city, and the city, Edgerton schools, and the surrounding ones. Oh, did I skip one?
Yeah,
Okay, that's because I didn't have any to bring.
all right.
Maybe next time. That's what, must have been why we skipped that one. Okay, congratulations to all the graduates. Last Monday, the Veterans Memorial was dedicated. It was a really nice day for it and a nice turnout, and I think the people that were there were quite impressed with how it worked, and it was a rather moving ceremony.
Heard a lot of good about it. I mean, a lot of the citizens, everybody that was there, just, it was amazing. I mean, it was, I thought it was a big turnout, but they said it was bigger, 300 or something?
Over 300.
Over 300. I don't think.
That was my estimate.
It went well. It was moving and, yeah, a lot of people talking about it and stuff, so.
There's still a little work to do with the pictures that are, gotta be put back on the wall out here, but.
Oh, we'll put them in order in the buckets.
Yeah. Little work on the wall to do. Anybody else have anything?
Mayor?
Oh.
I'll just mention, our second-year interns, as well as our very first third-year paramedic intern, graduated this year. And the district is doing a recognition for them Thursday evening, at a little after 6 o'clock. So if anybody wanted to come and participate, you'd be more than welcome.
Cake and ice cream.
Cake and ice cream.
Thank you. Cindy?
If we can just back up the parking regulations, I did include section 22 on page 14 of your packet. And when I read it, it's off-street parking between principal structures on residential lots, so it does not include like public parks.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Nay.
Motion passed.